Hello, everyone. This is the second meeting for the ADA transition plan at Accountability Group. What was our title? Sorry. And we are here today to talk about a few short things, including the survey that we passed out to everyone to see how you responded to that, and if you have any questions about that, and then also to answer any questions that you may have had after reading the draft plan that we submitted to you all, and see if you have any thoughts on that. To introduce myself, my name is Trevor Smith. I'm the Public Information Officer at the Public Works Department for the City of Salem. With me are several staff members, Anthony Gamayo, Gretchen Bennett, Rick Barnes, and we thank you all for your time in coming here and giving us your feedback for these events. If you have any ideas on how we should distribute these survey materials to any of your constituents or anybody that you may serve or who thinks would have a good opinion on these matters, we'd be happy to do that. So if you know of anybody that we should email this material to, please let us know at any time. With that, I'll hand it over to Anthony and he can kind of walk through what we've learned through the survey.
My light went out. Just wait 1 sec.
He's gone dark.
All right, there we go. Okay, so thanks everybody. So yeah, I'll talk a little bit about what the work we've been putting in on our plan that's in a sort of a draft phase right now, and we're hoping for feedback from you all. I'll start with the goal statement. That overall, it's just to improve accessibility for all individuals within the city's public rights of way. We're focusing on curb ramps and audible pedestrian signals in this plan. Hi, Cynthia. Hi.
Hi, I'm so sorry. I didn't get the code till just now.
No worries.
Is
No
Krista
worries. We
here?
haven't really started.
Oh, okay. Is Krista here?
She wasn't able to make it.
Okay. Do you want me to interpret anyway because it's being videoed?
Please.
Do you want me to start now?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Okay.
I'll shut up now.
All right, so I'll start over.
Sorry.
So with our plan, it's in a draft phase. We're hoping to have something wrapped up by the end of this calendar year. Then at that point, it'll be sort of like a living document that we revisit every year or two, according to what the state's looking for. But our goal is to improve accessibility for all individuals within the city's public right of way. We're focusing right now on curb ramps and audible pedestrian signals. So we're really trying to identify where we're strong on those facilities in the city and where gaps exist and what we can do to fill in those gaps. We're looking to outline how and when we're going to approve those facilities, and we want to create a realistic schedule for implementation, understanding that our resources are extremely limited. Our draft plan is it's a group effort. It's reflecting coordination between various city departments, planning, engineering, and maintenance perspectives. And what we're looking for is if you all have had it, I sent the plan out after our first meeting back in May. If you've had an opportunity to take a look at it, what we're hoping for is to hear from you all, like, what are your impressions? Is there anything you'd like to see added or changed? A lot of this is sort of guided by guidance we've received from ODOT, and they in turn get their guidance from the federal government. But we do want this plan to work for the people of Salem, and we want to hear from you all and from what you've been hearing from your respective contacts. What can we do to make this plan meet your needs and the needs of your contacts. And as we go forward to sort of tailoring the plan towards a final version that's guiding us and guiding our efforts in this, what can we do to make it best serve folks here in Salem? So we want to hear from you all on that. Thanks. So yeah, any feedback that you all have, we'd love to hear it.
Oh, you want us to respond now?
Sure, that would be great. Yeah, you don't want to hear me talk the whole time.
I'm representing the senior citizens of Salem. I was pleased to see the direction, but I just think, gosh, we live all over the place in every single community. So, targeting a community, I'm sure, is because that community, needs updating, whatever. So I just kind of feel like I don't have a lot to offer other than, the ramps and the lights are important, but the sidewalks, this is for all ages actually. And so a mom with a stroller and a senior with a walker, it's the same kinds of problems. And so a senior with a walker needs sidewalks everywhere they live, and so they can stay off the street and gravel and I just know resources are not endless. So I support anything rather than nothing.
So this is Kevin. I'm with the Oregon Commission for the Blind. I'm a rehab instructor, also a certified orientation and mobility specialist. And I really found it difficult to, the question regarding what area do we think needs the most attention, it was too broad, too vague. I mean, there are pockets in every area in the city where there aren't accessible corners, or the curb cuts are in poor condition. So, I mean, I think I said South Salem because really I've been working there a lot lately. But from what I read in the plan, it looks like they're mostly focusing on the critical ADA routes. Am I correct there? Not ahead or something?
We're looking at the critical ADA routes, but not exclusively.
Okay. I really like that. I mean, for my clients, anywhere there's a bus stop, if there could be an APS or, at least now I don't know what kind of curb cuts you're looking at. I mean, our preference would be that they're parallel curb cuts as opposed to the diagonal curb cuts. So that way, my clients, when they get to them, it's easier for them to align themselves to cross the street. But anywhere there's a bus stop where they may have to cross a busy street to get to that bus stop would be an ideal location for, an APS. And then, of course, truncated domes at each of the curb cuts, and I think that's pretty much standard now. I don't know if the parallel curb cuts are standard now, but I noticed that everything going in has the truncated domes. So that would be my input. Wherever there's a bus stop, look at that intersection, make sure it's accessible to, or not even so much accessible, but easier for a person, who's visually impaired or blind to cross to get to that bus stop, or to get to the bus stop across the street for the return trip. Because, sometimes I have to have people walk, I can have them walk, quarter mile out of the way to find a street for them to cross.
Thanks for that input. That's really like the specific kind of feedback that we can incorporate directly into the plan. And it helps us to target going where we allocate resources going forward. I appreciate that. Thanks. Does anyone else have anything they want to add?
I could jump on here and mirror Kevin just a little bit to say that I agree with him where the bus stops go, because it's where we definitely have a concentration of foot traffic as people try to use the bus system. And there are definitely some of the more heavier used routes, as they go into the transfer points as well. Any place that we have multiple buses that come through where you would transfer from one to another. Also helps to have those cutouts available so that people can move from one stop to the next.
Julie, I
I
see
just-
you're unmuted. Yeah.
Yeah, I just, I've been working, I get kind of lost because I find myself on a couple of these type of committees. I've been working with the long-term plans with Chariots on their team. And so weighing in similar things for, folks who are aged and disabled. Accessibility is one thing, but just, I guess the, dreaming, if you throwing things out there, not only the key points of accessing major services like health. I put clinics and health services and government offices because that's where a lot of people converge and need to get support with. And thinking about just the heat wave that we have even last week. If you're going to place a new shelter somewhere, can it be somewhere in the shade? Or, can shade be provided? Or, just thinking of the extremes of cold weather, warm weather. A lot of our folks, we, thanks to Chariots, tried to get them to shelters for cooling. But if they had to wait out in the hot heat while waiting to get to cooling shelter, that just kind of caused more damage. And so just things like that, just thinking about all weather and all accessibility. If you're going to plan and dream, I appreciate too the cutout conversation. A number of our folks not only are on wheels, but also with pets, guide animals, comfort animals, things like that, just to make it easier for all mammals to get from point A to point B.
So we're leaving amphibians off of that list.
Guilty.
Yeah, that might be problematic for the plan. Thank you for that, Julie. I appreciate it. And again, that sort of level of specificity, calling out climate concerns, shade, pets, well, that's really helpful. Thank you. Does anyone else have feedback, or does anyone else from the city want to comment on anything?
I think the other thing that comes to mind is timing. So I don't know what the timing is of getting people across the street. Our offices, as you may know, we're here at Cherry Avenue and Parkway. And I think, I don't know if there's an option, I'm a brainstormer, so just throw things down, whatever. But, an average able-bodied somebody might only need the 10 seconds to get across the intersection. Is there a different way to press the button twice if you need a little extra time? I get concerned for people's safety and trying to navigate across busy intersections and the time runs out.
I know on some of the new APS, if you hold the button down longer, and I don't know if it's true here. I haven't been in Salem that long, but if you hold your finger on it longer, it will extend the time for crossing. So I just have my clients, just as a rule of thumb, hold that button in for 5 seconds. And if it extends the time, it does. If not, nothing lost.
That's good to know. I didn't realize that. I've seen just being too specific, the crossing on oh gosh, I guess it's Front Street at State, when you're trying to get over to the carousel and there's that L, and I've seen people totally confused and angry that they can only get halfway across and they're stuck in this sandwich of traffic. And I don't know if that can be reworked, but it's because it's beautiful and it's done with permanence, but that seems to still be a bugaboo for seniors and everybody. Maybe more audio at that. You will only get halfway across. It's probably that you only get halfway across. Please stay in the meridian until you know, the medium until you get the next slide. No.
Hi, this is Tim from Garton. I'm going to rely upon the survey and the input from our constituents who experience these things on a daily basis more than I do. But I did come across something interesting recently. My daughter spent a year in Korea studying abroad through Oregon State University, and just opened my mind a little bit to the possibilities of what the state of the art can be. So there were two things that I observed that she shared with me. One is that they have traffic signals that broadcast on the curb, not just up in the air. So as an example, if you're looking down at your phone and you're not looking up at a signal, there's a light that projects from the curb that would catch your attention. And I wonder if that's something that's more friendly for wheelchair users, people who may not be able to look up quite as easily as other people. So I'm no expert in that area, but it just opened my mind as to some of the technology that's out there that I have no idea people are using. On a side note, they also had solar panels on benches, and the benches were set up with a USB port where you could charge your cell phone. So I thought that was interesting.
I don't think it's any secret that in the US here, we're a little bit behind the European countries and a lot of the Asian countries when it comes to pedestrian crossings or even, directional indicators. When we were in Italy, we noticed that at the train stations, a person, when you got off the train, there was a, what are they called? It's like a truncated dome, but it's a directional, there's a term for it, I can't remember. But a line, it's slightly raised, yellow, and that a person who's blind could follow, that would take them to, keep them from getting lost. And I know we've tried, or it's been tried, Oregon's tried it in some cities. I think it was Roseburg specifically, some directional markers at crosswalks. And that kind of fell by the wayside. It's going back a few years that they tried them. But I think there are still some that exist on some of in downtown Roseburg that you notice. But it makes it easier for a person who's blind, to align themselves for a correct crossing and make sure they're going in the right direction. And and they already exist. This isn't something that would have to be created. There are companies manufacturing these types of products.
All right, thanks for all that feedback. I've certainly got things to. Does anyone have anything specific to what they maybe saw on the plan that they liked, didn't like, would like to see tweaked? Okay. Okay, that's validating as a writer. That's good. Um, so I guess I can talk a little bit about schedule, and we can sort of talk about other. We brought up in our internal meeting yesterday maybe an approach for sort of continuing to reach out to your contact groups. But I'll bring up schedule. Let me share my screen for just a moment. Okay. You all see that?
Yes.
Okay, great. So this is sort of our timeline here for just covering 2022, starting with January here, ending with November. We're right about here, beginning of August, having a second meeting. So what we're looking to do here, reaching out to the public is a constant throughout this process. But sort of based on this meeting, we'll start tweaking and revising our plan, the draft plan that you all have seen, and sort of have a final meeting that we'll schedule for. It'll probably be early October, to sort of guide what we're going to put together for the final plan. And hopefully we'll have had some more survey feedback, some more participation in the survey by then. And we can also use that to help feed the final draft. And that'll help guide this last sort of portion here, sort of finalizing the plan. So that's where we are. So we're coming up on it now. It's already August. I think we were going to talk about a little bit about maybe ways to sort of reach out to each sort of interest group. Maybe like on our end, we can reach out to your groups as well to get sort of solicit more specific feedback as we continue. And we are hoping that you will continue to sort of disseminate the survey, and we'll continue to publicize it on our website. Does anyone else from the city want to provide any feedback on anything?
Sure, Anthony, this is Gretchen. I'm wondering how that's been going for any of you who may have tried to share the survey so far. Has that worked for you? And also thank you.
I just reshared with my staff who connect with consumers and in their homes and everything. Just curious what the response has been, because, you know, if you've been, this is not the first time the survey's gone out, correct? It's been sent out a number of times, or is this version of a survey? I just want to ask.
So this is Trevor. This survey was the one we created a few weeks ago. I would want to say like a month ago almost, and it hasn't changed since we sent it out. Yeah, and we didn't really publicize it, you know, as a citywide event, because we really wanted people who were focused on the issue or had loved ones who were focused on the issue to complete the survey. So that way we didn't just get a bunch of spillover from people who were just filling out a survey because they get bored, and why not? And so we would love to have the opportunity to, if you know of groups or if you know of meetings that are already on the schedule that we can get to before October, if there's a way to reach out to people where they're at, where they're already meeting, and you know, if this is a topic of interest to them and they would like a presence, you know, from us about this new plan, we would love to show up and give a short presentation and you know, help answer any questions they might have, or help direct their responses, you know, to Anthony and to get it into the plan. to get it into the plan.
This is kind of this is Tim from Garton, kind of a dumb question. I'm sure you thought this through, but using my keen sense for the obvious, are you using the city neighborhood association structure for feedback for this?
No, this is Trevor again. We have not engaged with the neighborhood associations yet. If there are certain members of those associations that you think we should contact, I'd be happy to do so.
I'm not aware of which ones are currently the most active. The city councilors would probably have a better handle on that than I would, certainly. COVID has certainly thrown everything into a different reality. So at one point, I know the North Salem Neighborhood Association was pretty active, but I really am not up to date on what's really operating at this time.
And also, I put the link to our webpage about the ADA transition plan into the chat. So you guys can click on that and share that link. I don't know if that has been passed around your groups, but for any interested parties, that's the repository of all the information on this process.
I hate to say it, but every time I feel like I'm one of these meetings, I'm like, how have you connected to folks who do not use computers? Because one of the greatest ways that we can connect here at Northwest is through our home delivered meals recipients, and they get a little menu, a paper menu every month, that if you wanted a response, if you wanted something put into our, and I imagine folks at Center 50 Plus with the Marion Polk Food Share would be willing to also distribute for Salem Kaiser, because we have a handful of sites that reach within the Salem boundaries, but Marion Polk Food Share is the one who handles most of Salem Kaiser catchment area. And they really would be a great partner to get people, at least our folks, our aged folks who qualify, 60 plus, who qualify for home delivered meals. That's a really great opportunity for somebody to give you honest feedback, because that, in my opinion, is where, and of course our Medicaid long-term care recipients who are in their homes. But it's just, our folks work with paper. And so if you have ways to distribute, we can get it distributed, or we can, ask our case managers to get it distributed, but it's just not going to happen electronically in mass if you want a big response.
That's an excellent suggestion, and I would love to get back in touch with you and maybe share a draft with you that we could do that with.
Yeah, I would certainly reach out to, I forget his name, he's the new person, Scott or Steve at Marion Polk Food Share at Center 50 Plus. He took over Mel's place. I mean, he would be a great one to partner with. I know we contract with them to provide the service, but every month we put something in paper through, the menus are on paper to the home delivered meal recipients. So that it's just a great population waiting for you to connect with.
Thank you. Yes, awesome suggestion.
If our congregate meal sites were in operation right now, but thanks to COVID, they're not. Otherwise, I'd suggest y'all go present at one of the meal sites, but they're not in operation yet.
And can I just piggyback on that? I know when we did the Salem Climate Action Task Force, that was something that I organized with Mel and Marilyn at Center 50 Plus, and we got it delivered, and the results were positive as far as return, as well as providing paper copies right there at Center 50 Plus, where people just picked them up. Oh, my internet's sketchy, guilty, and so to get on the internet may or may not work, but here's a paper copy and I've got it in front of me. So and that targets the seniors. You want how to get this message out to your target groups without just kind of canvassing all Salem, and the senior centers are the way to go.
I dare say we'd be willing to put some in our lobby as well. Even if you had like a pre-printed postcard where people could fill it out and just leave it and we would mail it for folks, you would get more than what you might be anticipating just electronically.
And, you know, I was gonna say, don't leave it too general. If you want specifics, you know, ask for specifics, you know, what road or how do you get around? You know, where do you find your difficulties, and maybe even a check the following or whatever. Because otherwise we think globally. I'm fine. I get along fine.
I don't know how many dissemination ideas you're looking for, because eventually it costs you time and money, but I don't know if we're currently printing the City of Salem utility bills for the city, but I know that it's very easy to print on the utility bills a message, and you could print a link to the survey. If you wanted to just cheaply disseminate it, you could ask your administrative department to print on the utility bills a link to the survey, so that would reach pretty far.
And with that, if I don't know,
with
I'm
that,
brain.
I don't know, I'm brain.
I don't know why I'm echoing.
I don't know why I'm echoing.
I didn't change anything. Does
I didn't
somebody have?
change anything. Just
Anyway,
have-
I'll keep going.
Anyway, I'll keep going.
But I was gonna say, if you say what it is, like if you put that in a bill, you know, here's the website. We're particularly interested in input from seniors, caregivers, anyone who pushes a wheeled item regularly, anyone with challenges in mobility of any sort, you know, those, you know, I may not respond to a survey, but if I kind of see my name there, you know, oh, well, I fit in that category, maybe they really want my input.
Yes, thank you. Great suggestions there. And I'm gonna work on a printed materials right away and see what I can do there, and, you know, get them distributed in Senate 50 plus. And the food shares are a great idea. Thank you for that.
Okay, does anyone else have anything they want to add, or does anyone else from the city have anything they want to add before? 'Cause I feel like we're in a good spot to wrap up. We'll be targeting early October for the next, for our last meeting, as we sort of wind this process down. But the feedback we've gotten today is really helpful, both on the plan and on the survey. And we'll continue to keep you all involved in our efforts, and keep you all in the loop. And so we can sort of put a bow on it, at least this initial stage, to have a plan that we put together and keep revisiting to keep improving, you know, for all folks in city right of way. You know, that's really the plan here, is to make everything accessible as well as we can. Okay, anyone? That's it for the good of the order. All right, well, thank you all for making the time. We really appreciate it. And if you're like me and questions pop up like 4 hours after the meeting, feel free to give me a call or send an email, and we'll get back to you with the best feedback we can provide.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.